Getting started is genuinely like the hardest thing when it comes to any sort of journey. Just taking that first step. Because I don't know what it is. There's got to be a science as to why we have such a hard time starting things we really want to do. You would think by theory it's easy, right? It's something you love to do. You know, let's say it's music, let's say it's sports, it's journalism, whatever the fuck it may be. It should be easy to go and use your free time to work on it, right? But it just doesn't seem like it's the case. Even me, I make music in my free time. I have a lot of creative ideas I want to put to use. I want to actually actualize them rather than keep them as concepts. I want them to mean something, right? I have such a hard time getting the ball rolling. After a work day, I don't really feel like doing anything. I do my workout still. I try to stay in shape because it's good to at least have something you do outside of work that's productive. I think that's important. It just keeps us sane. But I'm not one to really measure my worth by productivity. But I still like to do things, you know? I don't feel good when I just sit around and do nothing because I feel like I could be doing more. That's not to think that I'm worthless, but it's more to think that I could be worth so much more. So why is it that we have such a hard time starting things we really want to start? What is it? Is it laziness? Is it procrastination? Is it a fear of being criticized? What is it? Honestly, it's really all of those things and everything in between. For me personally, I think it was just the self-criticism. Every time I would record something or anytime I would write something or make anything, to be honest, this is just becoming like a huge run-on sentence. Anytime I would start something or do something, I'd be super critical about it. And why is that? Is it just because it's me and I feel like I can be critical about these things? I can be harsh about these things because it's me? I think that's where it comes from. And I don't think that's necessarily the right way to see things. It's good to be critical and it's good to really look at something from another perspective, but it's not good to do negative self-talk and it's not good to postpone yourself just because you feel like it's not ready. Because perception isn't universal. And I'm going to talk about that in another video because this one is just more to get the ball rolling, like I said. But perception is not universal. The way I see things might not be the way other people see things. For something I consider trash, someone else might look at it as something that's beautiful. It's the same way how, when artists have like songs they're never going to release leaked and then everybody eats it up and say that's like the best work they've done. It's like that, As an artist, you feel like it's not something you'd ever put on a project, but then it leaks and lo and behold, everybody thinks it's the greatest piece of music you've ever made. And it's just an interesting irony. So I'm trying and I'm working on just completely removing that barrier. Barrier of entry is the hardest thing. And removing that sort of perception of myself that I'm applying to everyone else around me, to people I don't even know are looking at my stuff or viewing my stuff yet. I'm applying a perception to them already, which is strange. It's not something anybody should do, and yet I do it. And I feel like I'm not alone in the way that happens, I'm also trying to do videos like this to help me articulate myself better. I used to be so good at articulating myself back in like 2018, 2019 before lockdown, but now it feels like everything's just mumbo jumbo and I kind of slur my words and I don't really articulate myself as well as I used to. Could be, like as I was saying, being extremely self-critical of myself, but I genuinely feel it. I'm not even looking at that from a negative self-perception. I'm looking at that as it's something I can improve on. So this is my way of getting the ball rolling. And this channel, I really wanted to use it as a place to just kind of, not vent, because I don't really like the word vent, but just kind of express. Express is the word I'd rather use, because I feel like a lot of us keep a lot of these thoughts and emotions inside of ourselves and never really shared them. And sometimes it brings about the most interesting conversations when you share these type of thoughts, the things that you feel nobody wants to talk about. Sometimes you get some of the best interactions of your life by doing this. Some of my favorite conversations I've ever had with my friends are just late nights where we're just kind of letting our minds go free, because when it hits a certain time at night, your brain isn't really fully censoring everything anymore. You're just kind of letting everything fly and talking freely. I think it's because of fatigue. When you're fatigued, the censorship kind of wears off. That's just the way I see it. So, why is it so hard to start? Am I really truly starting by doing this? I think so. Because I'm getting the ball rolling. I've wanted to do a recording and talk for like so long. It's been like 2 weeks in the making that I've really wanted to start this, start speaking and share my thoughts with the world, share my thoughts with people. And this is my way of starting. This is my barrier of entrance. This is me pushing that little snowball off the hill and letting it grow into something bigger. And I'm not alone in feeling this way, I think. Once you do get started, it feels like a weight has been lifted from your shoulders. It feels like there's no more pressure anymore because you finally entered. You finally walked through the door. You finally got rid of the mental perceptions you've made for yourself. You've kind of gotten rid of the assumptions that you've created that don't really exist. Like Seneca once said, we suffer more in imagination than in reality most times. And that goes true for, I think, everybody in this current generation. Even the people that you think are the most well off, whether they're rich, extremely good looking, they too are human. They too have things they grapple with mentally. That's why I treat everybody the same. I don't really apply certain sets of rules to certain people based on status, based on looks, because I feel like that's stupid. Subconsciously, do I do that when it comes to things pertaining to me, like relationships, like business opportunities? Of course, because that's just a human thing to do. And I wouldn't be honest if I said that if I wasn't physically attracted to somebody, I would date them, because that's a lie. Attraction goes in multiple ways. Of course, you could see somebody and think that they're the greatest personality, but if you don't think they're good looking enough, which is not a bad thing, you're not calling a person ugly, but it's just not someone that you see yourself dating, then that's perfectly fine. As long as you're not harsh about it, then it's okay. But yeah, I'm kind of ranting right now, but this is, like I said, me getting the ball rolling. I really wanted to honestly create a community where people could freely share their thoughts and have a place to come to when they feel like they have nobody to talk to. I'm never going to monetize anything on this channel. I'm never going to sell anything. I'm never going to go and try and make this into a business opportunity, because there's a mental health crisis. And I feel like there's not enough outlets for everyone to be able to express themselves and to kind of release some of the stress and release some of the shit going on in our heads. I find it wrong to have to pay for therapy. I feel like it doesn't make any sense morally, and it just never sat right with me. And I think that's why I can't do therapy and it doesn't work for me, because I'm like, it feels weird that once you've vented your heart out, you've poured your heart out to this person, they're looking at their watch, and then after they're saying, well, we'll see you next week, and then you have to pull out your debit credit card at the front desk to pay to share your thoughts. It feels very capitalistic. I don't think that's a word, but who cares? It feels very capitalism, right? And I'm not one of those who completely blind hates capitalism. Do I necessarily agree with it as a whole? No. But it's just very strange to have to pay to get better. It's very strange to have to pay to get help. And I never really agreed with that. So this is me getting the ball rolling. If this somehow comes up on your feed for whatever reason, I'm not going to force you. I'm not going to ask you to like. I'm not going to ask you to do anything. But share thoughts. Share what you're thinking. Share how you're feeling in the comment section. Start a conversation with somebody if they pop up in the feed. Have a civil conversation and let some of the stuff going on in your head out. Let it out, man. It's okay. I'm never going to do anything to this channel that makes it not about helping people. Not about giving people a place to speak. Not about lending an ear to people who need someone to listen. So if you do come across this video for whatever reason and you've listened to this whole rant of me going in like a million different ways, I really appreciate it. And I hope you stick around and see what we have coming up in terms of conversation. And of course, like I said, this is a safe space. It's only ever going to be a safe space I have other business ventures. I have other things going on that are giving me income. I would never, ever, ever make this about money or make this a place to make money because it just doesn't feel right and it's against my principles and the way I see things in terms of mental health and the whole loneliness epidemic. So just know that I believe in you guys, even if you don't believe in yourself. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, a great rest of your week, and of course, a great life.